This is a tutorial on how to create a rubric for the marking of an assignment. A rubric is a feature that comes from using the Turnitin type assignment in Moodle, and I've got one available in this module. It's got the Turnitin logo here, and you can see its individual project report. And if I click on that, it takes me to the submission inbox for Turnitin. If I scroll down, you'll start to see information about submissions. So these assignments here have already been marked. I'm awarded marks, but I want to go through the process of creating a rubric to help you with the marking. So the first thing we're going to do is get into the TurnItIn Feedback Studio, which is the name of their kind of marking help technology. And all I need to do is click on the grading pencil for any of these assignments, doesn't matter which one I pick, and that opens the TurnItIn document maker. It's converting the submission into a PDF. I'm not interested in that. What I'm interested in is the icons over on the right, and this particular icon here is the rubric creator. So I'm going to click on that icon, and here you can see an example of a rubric that I've already created. A rubric essentially is a grid to help you with marking. You set up a number of criteria, and for each criterion you set a number of possible values. They might be marks, or in this case they're just categories of quality of work. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 criteria. They're the ones specified in the assignment, and this particular rubric has a slider which allows me to choose the quality under this criterion: poor, good, or very good, or excellent. You can set up much more numerical rubrics if you wish. I'm going to show you how to do both. So how do you create this rubric? Well, over here on the right you see a little cog icon. That's the settings to manage the rubrics and grading forms. So we're going to click on that cog icon. That takes me to the rubric that I've already set up, but for this tutorial I want to show you how to create a new one. So what you do is you go across to the top left of this window and pull down the menu, and you will see create new rubric as one of the options. So we select that rubric, and here is the table. It's set up for me 3 default criteria, which it's labeled criterion 1, 2 and 3, and this is a 3-point scale. This is the standard rubric, so it's a numerical scale. So what you might do is you might put in what criterion 1 is, let's say structure, and then you would allocate some band marks. These might, most logical thing I guess is to make them coincide with the grey boundaries. So we could have scale 1 as sort of 0 to 40, so I'm just going to label that as 40, scale to 50, and scale to 60. And I can add more criteria or more points on the scale. If I want to add another scale, I just click on the plus sign top right here, and it's got empty scale, so I need to give it a name. For the moment let's do scale 4, and we would put in the value of this. So scale 3 would have been 60, so this might be 70. And you can label what you're going to call these scales. So this could be first, or maybe even distinction would be better. It's up to you what labels you use. Distinction. So scale 3 might be merit. Didn't save my mark there, so I'm going to add it here. 60%, and so on. So you can set up the scale that way. Similar thing applies to the criteria. So I've got 3 criteria. If I want to add some more, if I scroll down, there's actually another criterion 4 already exists. So to add another criterion, I just click the plus sign at the top of this column here. It's added a new criterion 5. Like before, I can change the name of that criterion, and I can change the weighting of that criterion. So that's the numerical standard scoring rubric. Some people like these because you can give the students an indication of exactly what band of mark they received for each of the criterion. Other people don't like it because it encourages students to challenge the marks they've been awarded for each criterion. So if that's you, you can use a different rubric, which is known as the qualitative rubric. And if you go to this menu, scoring menu at the top, pull it down, you can change from standard to qualitative. This uses the same kind of grid system, but when we save it, what's going to happen is it's going to create a set of sliders that allow you to choose the scale. So notice there's no numerical marks here. So the scales could be, if the stick with the merit distinction idea, this could be a pass, and this could be a fail, just for the sake of this assignment. Now, when you've set it up and you're happy with it, there are two things that you want to do. One is you want to attach it to the assignment. That means that every student will now have this grid available. I'm not going to do that because I've already got an assignment, a rubric attached to the assignment. So the other thing that you would do is click Save. If you do that, it means that this is available to any of the assignments in this module. So if we set up another assignment to do something, we can use the same rubric. I'm just going to close this dialog now. Are you sure you want to close without saving? Yes, I do. So you can see that if I'd gone through the process, it sets up a slider which just allows me to move the button to select different levels in this qualitative feedback. So to mark the script using this rubric, I just alter the values of each of these criteria corresponding to what I think is my academic assessment of the quality of the work. It saves by default. You don't have to click a save button, and that's what will be released to the students when you release the marks.